Okay, so there's also a sheet for you to work with. Again, I don't expect you to be Markdown experts. You just have to know the basics. So most likely in your assignment, you wouldn't be linking images of cats or tigers, but you have to know sort of the basics for how to format your assignment. So that means using headers and using italics and bold. So we've not done the entire tutorial, so there will be 6 or 7 sections in it, so you can work through it on your own time. If you stumble across some things, just keep on trying and try a different tutorial. Again, you don't have to be a Markdown expert, you just have to know the basics. There's some things which are not covered in that tutorial, like mathematical symbols. As we'll come along, I'll give you some examples. It also doesn't cover some of the things like sub and superscript. So having things like chi-squared, it doesn't do Greek symbols. So, but I'll explain to you in the future how we're going to do those things. So don't worry too much about those for now. I put in some links for you to read up if you need a Greek symbol, how you get those type of things, and we'll get to that later. So now the next step is we're going to do a little bit in RStudio. So you can now all open RStudio on your PC. It should look something like that. And then I would like you, once you've opened RStudio, it might take a while to load. I'd like you to click File, New, Markdown, or Markdown, Document, HTML. You'll notice that there's many other options in there, but this is the type of thing which we're going to use. So just in that, you'll have a menu on the top left corner, and there will be a button there which says File. Just click New, R Markdown, Document, HTML. Okay. So File, New, not R, but R Markdown. Studio. File, new file, it's not moving well. File, new file, and then you'll have our Markdown here. Okay. You'll have many different options, but the default is that you pick document and HTML. It will recognize the name from your computer, and I'll just put test. As you'll be able to see, so all my slides are also built in R. All the exercises are built in R. I use R for nearly everything. I've also started writing papers in R. You can do everything with it. You can make apps. You can do the entire bunch. I'm going to close some of these things. Oh, I should have not closed Untitled. Okay. So this is the core in which you will complete your work. So most of the things you'll do is in that. And R Markdown can be rendered in HTML. So you pick the HTML option. It can also build Word files. It can build PDF files. And what will happen now is we're going to build our very first web page. So if we go back to our Markdown, you'll see this button which says knit. And just like you to press that button, something will pop up because if you didn't name your document, it will say I need a name. So we're going to store it somewhere. So just give it a name like test or something like that. Test. I'll put mine in documents. Okay. So just put in a name. It will, if you're on the university PC, it will store you in likely my documents folder or in RStudio folder. If you've done that, you should have seen that it did something here, quite weird. Something it did some bits, and then you'll see something appear on the right-hand side if you go to Viewer. So Did everybody sort of manage to do that? Your doesn't exist.
Mine also does not exist.
So it's so that means you don't have my documents folder. So you need to talk to IT because it means so have you enrolled?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll look into that. We'll look into that. For now, try and save it somewhere else. So just click File, Save As, and see if you can save it in a different folder. Like there should be a folder associated with that.
Well, maybe just this one now.
Yeah. You just type in the name. It could be that you already have written so much files in your folder that the university is not happy with you. Now click Knit. Try it again. Yeah. So you some people are running into problems, so we'll have to get you guys into touch with IT because it means
Thomas,
you
I
might still.
think it's because it's trying to save it on my documents, but if you actually go to the U drive
Okay.
and save it, it should work.
U drive. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I didn't know. I thought everybody had access to their My Documents folder here.
You do, but the default is just the PC.
Okay.
Network.
So try going to your U drive. So not Team Workspace, but yeah. Thanks for that. Sorry, I should have known. Because most of the time it works for most
It usually goes directly to the user.
It could be that they had a previous account and it's not transferred yet. Okay. So go to your U drive. Thanks, Carol, for that. So you've built your very own web page after you've done that. So you've generated a web page. .html is a web page. And so if we now go back and look in R, you'll see some bits between these bits. Those are the type of things which tell you a little bit about your documents. So don't touch those. Don't touch this bit, because this is sort of telling R how to build this type of web page. And by now you should have sort of see that some bits are markdown. Yeah. So you remember that you see those hashtags. They're the things that do headers. You can also, because it will know HTML, you can actually use these carets to directly insert hyperlinks, but it will also know Markdown. But you should know that this does bolding, and if you go and look, this is bolded. Yeah. So the bits and bobs which you did in Markdown, you can use in this type of thing. So you'll have two types of bits. You can see that there's some bits between these ticks. That's what the computer recognizes as being R code. All the other bits are Markdown, so they're the text makeup language which does these other things. Yeah. So you can see this. So this is read as R code. The other bits are read as text. So that's the key bit. We'll get to that in a bit further. You'll also need these curly brackets, and then because you could call other languages as well, it has to have R in there, so it knows it's calling R. And this bit cars is just a label, so it's very handy if you build large chunks of things. If you have a very long document, that you sort of know where to look if things go wrong. And so if it crashes, then you know, oh, it was the cars chunk on which it choked. Yeah. So that's usually the purpose of that. So occasionally you can put .html in there. So if you know HTML, you can write HTML code in between, and it will recognize it as HTML. If you know LaTeX, probably none of you do. It's very popular amongst mathematicians and economists. It will read LaTeX as well, and so that's another markup language. So we picked .html, and we'll tell you a little bit later about .pdf. But the .html is suitable for most of your processes. So when your assignment goes wrong, it's usually when people try to knit to PDF, and they have some type of issue where LaTeX is not playing nicely. So build your assignment in .html and then save it as a PDF. Yeah. So if you want to make PDFs directly, you're gonna most of these computers here will have it. If you're on a Windows PC, you're gonna need a LaTeX distribution, which is MikTeX or MikTeX, and on OS X on Mac it's MacTeX, and on Linux it's TechLive. So RStudio needs some additional things in order to build a PDF. Some additional packages or some additional programs. And so if you wanted to do that, that's what you'll need. And you can find more info there But from HTML to PDF, we can just open your PDF in Google Chrome or in Internet Explorer, and then you can save it as a PDF just via the print function. So if you go to the folder where you just knitted that file, there should be an HTML file there. So where you, if you're in Documents or on your U drive, that's where it should live. And then in the print command, at least on Mac, you'll be able to save it as a PDF. So file, either save as or print as. Yeah, so you're able to pick that as a PDF option. Yeah. So for your assignments, you just make it into an HTML, you go to your browser and you save it as a .PDF. Yeah. If you want to do really fancy, you can try to do it on your own, with like that .PDF yourself. But that's the way I would do it. Any questions so far? No? I'll go for another 5 or 10 minutes, then we'll have a short break, and then we'll continue. So we're going to do our first coding ever. So what you're going to do is between those ticks where it said cars, you're going to put sys.date and like these round brackets. So you can see that your markdown document, your R markdown document has markdown, and it has things between the texts. It has summary cars somewhere written. Remove summary cars and put sys.date, and then you should not get 27 because this is when I ran it on the 27th. And so remove that bit and just put sys.date as it's written there. And then after you've done that, you can press that play button on that chunk thing. So you'll, just to show you, so this is what you should replace. And you have a play button. You have a play button there. Yeah. So the first chunk, the thing with the 3 ticks, don't remove any of the ticks, and just type sys.date in there. Okay. You can actually see it has autocomplete, so most of the time it will pop up just as you go along. So I do this, and I press this button, and it should print you like the date of today. Yeah. Did everybody manage to do that first bit? Just pressing that. So after you've all done that, you can replace it with sys.time. So remove the sys.date, replace it with sys.time, and press again this button. And you should get something which now gives you the time of your computer, the clock. Yeah? Everybody with me so far? So what would happen is if you were to knit your document again, it would replace what it had before, summary cars, with this output, this time or this date. Yeah? People who are struggling or all good? It's quite scary to look at, but you've done your first coding now, ever. Okay? Now the next bit is, let's see if those people sort of manage. Are there issues or things we can resolve? Okay. You've saved it as a PDF, so this is a PDF now. So, and this is all my code, so you have to go through steps again because this is now a PDF file and not R markdown thing. So that's probably why it doesn't work. Just do file, new, and do that. Yeah, go to that one. And then you can see by the highlighting, there's a different color. So bear in mind, if you change the extension, so if you turn it into a PDF file or a .r file or .html, it's no longer a .rmd, it's not an R markdown file, and you're unable to edit things in it and run it as you want to. So R is not really a program, but rather it works based on packages. And so what we're going to do is we're going to install some packages, and they're going to be doing all the legwork for us. So basically, R is a very basic language. We're going to import packages, and these are the packages that will do the actual stats for us. So you can do it via the install.packages command, but actually in RStudio it's quite easier. So what we could do is we can just go. It's not very. My screen's a little bit squashed, but on this right hand, on the bottom right corner panel, you have files, plots, but you also have packages there. Yeah. And then you can click install, and then something will pop up, and that will allow you to install packages. So most of the time when we're installing packages, you can do it this way. You can also go to the console or to this type of chunk, type install the packages, within quotation marks the package you want, and then press that button. But the easier way is to use RStudio to do it for us. So I'm going to now install a package which does plotting, which is ggplot2. So again, it will do autocomplete. Yeah. I do ggplot2. I click install. And that will happen is that on this thing below, you'll see that stuff is happening. It's going to download and install the package. Yeah? Did it do that? Yeah, so we'll say
put it into
everybody with it. Yes, because you probably don't have this the text live installed and the other things installed. Yes, if you want to make PDF. But again, you don't need it to make .html and save it as a .pdf. Okay, everybody managed to install their very first package? Yeah? So I think this would be a good time to break. So we're going to break until 10, so slightly around 10 minutes or something, or like